This week, the Working Tools podcast is on the road at the Conference of Grand Masters of North America, being held right here in Seattle, Washington. So our format's a little different. We're going to have a series of short interviews with the attendees. We hope you enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, brethren all, welcome to the Working Tools podcast, a casual conversation around Freemasonry. First, it's important to note that our thoughts and opinions are our own and do not reflect those of our Grand Lodge or respective craft or concordant bodies. Please connect with us and ask questions via our website at theworkingtoolspodcast.com.
So, continuing our interviews from day 3 of the Conference of Grand Masters, it's almost 4 o'clock, so we're wrapping up, but we are fortunate enough to have our wrap-up come from some guy from Washington. So, would you please introduce yourself?
Worshipful Jim Mendoza. We know his name. Some of these other guys, it could be elaborate names and titles, and we don't know which one they want to personify today. And I mean, of course, we know that you would go by brother of any time, but he is our most worshipful Jim Mendoza, and a personal representative in the Tacoma Valley. I will add that as well, and multiple other titles, including Rainbow Dad.
Yep.
So, now I was going to get a chance to introduce himself. Now can I? You were the coordinator for 4 years running for this event.
Actually, closer to 7. We actually starting in 2016. The idea came to the idea was in the year that I was Grand Master. The idea was, hey, let's host this in Washington. In my research, the last time Washington had hosted it was in 1968, there's been when they talk about hosting in the West, sometimes they didn't get as far as the West Coast, and so I thought it would be nice to host in Seattle. I'm a native of Seattle. I love my hometown, and I wanted to show off the hometown, and I wanted to show off Washington Freemasonry and all that implies. And so we at the 2017 conference, which was in I gotta get it right, which was in Rapid City, South Dakota. Yes, we hit all the hot spots. We put our bid forward. No, actually, it was in Omaha. We put our bid forward. It was between us and Montreal. As fate would have it, I was chairman of the Time and Place Committee, so I had to recuse myself because I was, we put it in. Stan Hudson, I appointed him as co-chair, and I said, Stan, here's how it works. If Montreal gets it, I'll give the report, and if Washington gets it, you give the report. So both of us put our presentations at the table. I get called back in, after both of our presentations are done. Stan says to me, "I'm giving the report." So when it was time for this time and place report, they introduced me, and of course Stan comes up to the podium. Stan is a big man, much bigger than I am. And he says, as you can tell, I'm not Jim Mendoza. And the reason why is that we would like to recommend that Washington receive it. We gave our presentation. The body voted on it, and the plan started in earnest. That started with the creation of the coin, which, for those who've seen it, has an impossible view. Actually, totally impossible view of the Seattle skyline. It doesn't exist. I mean, we have all the highlights, but when you look at it, there's nowhere in Seattle you can get that view. It doesn't matter. Pins. We had some amazing plans, and then of course the world shut down, and we ended up hosting a virtual conference in 2021, and that was fun. But it was at that same virtual conference it was announced that if we wanted it, we could do 2024. So we had the infrastructure in place. We still had excited people who wanted to do it. The plans obviously had to change a little bit because the fundraising that we had was in the form of 2021 coins and pins. So here we are in 2024, and it's been an incredible experience. I think the brethren and the ladies who came got to hear some very interesting reports. Some of them are going to raise a few eyebrows, obviously. The discussion on female masonry, in particular, I'm sure raised a few eyebrows, but there was some, there were some really good reports. I particularly enjoyed the keynote, and I want to get back to that. Where our own very worshipful Brother Zane McCune talked about, it's not enough to just say we want growth. It's not enough to say we have a fraternal experience. What does that mean? And how does that really impact our fraternity? To hear the Northern Masonic jurisdiction, who created beafreemason.org, come back and buttress what Zane said with stats, and I think that was quite the eye opener for people to hear. And then, of course, the fellowship. You guys have been watching over here from the concierge desk. The number of people that you've gotten to interview from all over the world, which is really fun. I'm sure for you guys. I'll be intrigued to see the content that you place on your channel, and because you probably have a month's worth of content.
So will we. I have many hours ahead of me of editing, and
so I'm thinking that's really cool. So
before we forget, we want to say thank you for the opportunity. We have a Cowan. All right, we're back. What was I about to ask? That we've heard many comments, and kudos to you for your excellent contributions and your development. And we wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to be here. You had come to us early on, or to me at least, and said, "Hey, we want you to be here." And so we're very, very thankful to have this opportunity to be here. But again, back to you, that multiple comments of people talking that how successful it's been, and I know that. Humbly, you would say it's not just yourself, it's the many volunteers. Do you know how many volunteers you have?
We have about 200 volunteers working, and you're right, it's not about me. It was my crazy idea to bring this to Washington, for sure. But if COVID gave us a blessing, it allowed me to rethink how we wanted to present, at least us as a host for this conference. And what it came to is that I wanted to showcase the best and brightest of Freemasonry in Washington and all that entails. Not just Masons, but the groups and the brethren who do things. You're right, David. I wanted you guys to be here. I know there are Masonic podcasts all over the place, but I wanted you guys to be here because, number one, the podcast is based here in the state of Washington. I know we have brethren in British Columbia who've been part of it, but it is based in Washington. And I think you both know how I feel about the both of you. Again, if I had put best and brightest, I cannot exclude you. I mean, you're in that mix. But you take a look at from the mixer that we had on Thursday, where we had some great Masonic musicians, and at the end of the day, we realized we sound pretty good. The Welcome to Washington dinner, that was Adam Creighton and his musical review of what I'll call it. And everyone in Washington knows what an incredible musician Adam is. And then everything he brought to the table with that, and then of course the opening session. My goodness, Zane McCune's keynote address basically was an absolute call to action. The idea of bring the line to the standard versus bringing the standard back to the line. That's an absolute call to action. But even before that, Malia Williams representing Rainbow the way she did, not what I would call a formulaic speech either, one that was very personal. I was telling Laura earlier that the last speech from a youth person that I heard that left such an imprint was back when I visited the Grand Lodge in New York. What was that? 2006 or 7, and it was Nathaniel Liberty was the state master counselor, and I still remember it where he said, I can talk about our founder, I can talk about the original 9, but I want to talk about one boy and one man. And he talked about himself, and he talked about his dad advisor, and it was a very personal thing, and you could literally see people in the audience starting to cry. I was one of them. And then at the end of the speech, so after all this, I only have 3 words to say to all of you. Thank you, Dad. Oh my God. Not a dry eye in the house. It was amazing. So Malia, similar thing. When she thanked Tom Christie. And Stacy Tom's husband was in the back filming. She was crying. She comes over to us. We start crying. It was just it was an amazing thing. Rob Thompson, doing the Vesper service, taking the brethren to church, if you will. Jimothy Rogers, who's going to be playing tonight at the closing dinner, and who also played at that. And then this group of volunteers from the docents who helped out here to those who went on the tours. One of the many things I heard from the ladies who said they appreciated the fact that they had people there. Our medical team, who was the airport team. Jeremy Yielding and Kevin Reed, I understand, worked all 3 days at the airport, and they worked from bell to bell. 12-hour days on their feet. Jerry Parton and his team, they had people down there in the tunnels of the link rail. These were brethren and ladies who gave of their time so freely. So while a lot of flowers are being cast my way, it doesn't happen without them. It doesn't happen without them. And so when I say goal accomplished, yeah, the best and brightest of Freemasonry in Washington and all that implies came to the table. And a lot of what we're hearing from people is because of the solid work that they did. And I think a lot of the reason why people want to come talk to you as well, because they want to share their experience. And the cool part is not only do they share experience because you guys are doing what you do, guess what? They're dropping lessons. And because they're going to be memorialized on your channel, there'll be lessons that are going to be shared for a long, long time. So, again, thank you for being part of this experience and sharing your time as well and being part of this, because we ain't doing this again. I'll tell you that right now.
Maybe when Dave's grandmaster.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I think he's saying he's not going to do this again. Yes.
Oh, goodness.
Well, Jim has been a regular on the show if you've been watching, and if you haven't watched, please go back and listen. One of my favorite segments was when you brought to us the idea of the 7 blunders, and we really did a deep dive into that. And it was I still cherish that opportunity to have that discussion over 8 weeks, essentially, the intro and then the 7 blunders. That was a really special opportunity, and of course we look forward to that in the future again.
And Zane touched upon that a little bit, kind of in that, lodges, the one that we talk about, I can't remember if this was, but the lodge mistake, the biggest mistakes that the lodge makes, that, we make promises, and we think we fulfill them when in reality we don't. And a lot of that goes to not knowing your members, not knowing what they're all about, what their hot button is, and so forth. So again, I keep going back to Zane's keynote because the comment on the 7 blunders just reminds us of the things that, we have an incredible gift as Freemasons and being part of the Masonic fraternity that, we have a responsibility to share that gift and share it properly. And that includes making sure that lodge experience fits the brother and the brethren. And if it doesn't, we have to also be willing to say, this lodge probably is a better fit for you. Not that we don't want you here, but that's because the lodge is a better fit for you, and we want you to really enjoy Freemasonry and all that again. And I've been saying this, and all that implies, so that way, you have that solid experience, because the fraternity can benefit a lot of people, but also the fraternity can benefit from a lot of those people if we do it right.
Yeah. Setting that standard. Wasn't it Jared that brought that article to us, or was it you? Bringing the line up to the standard. I think it was.
That was from the. That was. Oh, I got it from the Whither Are We Traveling?
Was it Whither Are We Traveling? Yeah, we were talking with Zane afterwards, and he was saying, as he was writing, it's his composition of the keynote is a multi-day process and multi-steps, and he was thinking about things, and he remembered on the show. Zane's obviously a contributor, a host, and has listened to the show, and he remembered that idea of the bringing the line up to the standard, and that would be a good piece to weave in, and so he's got some pieces that he's woven in. It's really neat to see that thing happening.
That was a real the conversation that we had. You'll recall that in 2021, the original plan was Owen Shea from the Grand Lodge of Hawaii, and I can't remember if either or where you were at the Warden's conference where he spoke, I need to dig out his address but it was just absolutely amazing how he basically lit everyone's hair on fire. It was about millennial Masons and understanding what a millennial Mason brings to the table. I think all too often the term millennial has become derisive, and he went out of his way to show it really isn't. And what they bring to the table, what skills that many lodges don't possess, that lodges need to take advantage of, like the fact that they're technologically advanced. That's an amazing thing there. And that the fact that, yes, they will go to work if they see value in the work. And but again, that goes to us showing them how there's value in the work. So we had that. But the thought was, okay, we try to recreate it, bring Owen back again. And, we were looking at it. The budget was different, obviously, from 2020 to 2024. And when the idea came, let's showcase who we're all about. Who in Washington do we know can deliver? And the first name that came to my head was Zane McCune. I mean, we all know Zane as past Grand Lecturer, past Grand Order. We've heard his remarks at Grand Lodge and have been inspired by that. We know that he's currently involved with the Lodge Leaders Retreat, formerly known as the Warden's Conference, where he's teaching classes. And I love one of his eye-opening classes is getting brethren to look strictly at the Lodge experience and seeing what their Lodge experience is versus how they perceive it to be. I've sat in that class and watched people, drop their heads, realizing that oh my gosh, I thought we were this when we were that. And I don't think I'm talking out of school, but I know that he's been appointed as the new chairman of that committee. So I think that's exciting. When we looked at all the things, let's bring Zane to the table, and that, trust me, that was not a mistake. that was awesome. My voice, by the way, is shot. So
I think the first time I saw Owen was when he was presenting that Millennial Masons, was it 9 years ago in Vancouver, and it was a kind of eye-opening and shocking presentation. Against some controversial discussion, and was open up the dialogue for sure. We could certainly talk for hours about all kinds of things, but again, what an amazing job that you've done with this program. And even though there's an army behind you, it still takes a leader. It still takes someone dedicated for many years in your case, well beyond your expectations, your assumed role. And so you're to be commended for that just as much as everybody else.
Thank you so much, David and Matt. I appreciate you both and appreciate the opportunity. And I hope that all the interviews you've done are going to increase your viewership. Because again, I've seen the men who've sat in this chair and the ladies who've sat in this chair. And you were able to get some pretty high-end people to come spend time, sit with you, share with you their thoughts, not just on the conference, but on the fraternity itself. And I know the things they bring to the table and the things that they will share. And I think a lot of stuff that they share, I hope, will be taken to heart by the people who watch and listen, because, part and parcel, that's why we do these things, right? To put information out there, and hopefully people will distill that information and use it for the benefit of their lodges in specific, and of course the fraternity in general.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much again for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thanks for their time.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bye now.